Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be about my angle tool and about how it works and how it's useful. This tool can be used in various scenarios, like if you want to find the angle of a ramp so that you can use trig to find the width and the height, or it can be used to find the angle of a string that's pulling on an object, so that you can use, again, trig to find the x and y component of the string's tension force. So, this device is controlled by a microcontroller called the Raspberry Pi Pico, not a sponsor, which is MicroPython to control the sensor, the MPU0650 sensor, and then the OLED display. To power this device, it requires a minimum of 5 volts. So this can be powered via either a 5-volt rechargeable battery, like it is right now, which is used to power this device for a prolonged period of time, or a 5-volt breadboard power supply, which is connected to this 9-volt battery, not a sponsor, and works just fine. So both of these ways of power supplying this works just fine. In order to get the sensor data and convert it to the angle values in degrees, I use the MPU0650 I2C module. There are 4 pins that connect the sensor to the Raspberry Pi Pico. The ground pin, the VCC pin, which is basically the power pin, the SDA, and the SCL pin, which are the I2C configuration pins. The sensor gets the data on the accelerometer values, which is basically the measure of the force of gravity on the object. And when multiplied by 90, it converts it to degrees and outputs degrees. So, to display these values in an understandable UI for the user, I use the SSD1306 OLED display with the measurements of 128 × 64 pixels. Since this is also an I2C module, it has the same 4 pins as this sensor right here, but different SDA and SCL pins, so that it is considered separate than this sensor by the Raspberry Pi Pico. So, when you look at the output of this device, it shows the x-axis and the y-axis, where x is this way, and then that's x, and then y is this way on the side, where the positive for x is being tilted down, and the positive for y is being tilted to the right. So there's also these arrows right here, which show the direction of the device being angled. So if you angle it down, it shows the arrow as going down. If you angle it left, it shows it left. But there's also a dashed line, so the dashed line shows you that the angle 0 and it's flat along that axis. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this device is useful in various scenarios where angles play a key role. But currently, this can only calculate and display the measurements of the angle in degrees. So one of my future enhancements is to add a switch that can help the user switch between degrees and radians modes. So yeah, the code for this device will also be linked below. So thank you for watching.